Whoa, what is this? What is this? Oh, I gotta fix this. Oh my God. Okay, better, right? I have no idea when it was last time that I uploaded a video. It's been a while. Like, I feel like it was this summer, maybe the fall. Anyway, I wanted to make an upload for my 7 followers. Love you. A lot has happened since August. Like, I mean, I don't know, maybe not a lot, but just more of like a life update for you, and then talk a little bit about like what I'm starting tomorrow, which is Monday. Today is February 26th. So I'm just getting dressed. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. It's a lazy Sunday. Don't judge me. I am exhausted from the CrossFit Open. So FYI, it is open season. Things have been going pretty well, all things considered. So let me explain what has happened. So in August, I don't know if I talked about this before, but in August, I had a knee injury. And like happened at CrossFit, but it wasn't like an acute, like it's not my ACL, my MCL, all my L's are intact. My meniscus is intact. I was doing a workout and I knew like it was just a lot of volume. So it's thrusters, right? You know, so that like front squat into a push press movement, lots of volume, not a lot of weight, but just a lot of volume in that workout. And then I think I rode my bike home from the gym that day. And I knew like when I got home, I was like, my knees are going to be like sore tomorrow. Like my legs are going to be sore. Like I could tell, right? It was crazy. And like, I would say, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before either, but maybe, since I've started CrossFit, like I would say once a year, usually around the open, I would get like almost like an overuse injury, right? Not really an injury, but just like, why is it backwards? Why am I doing it backwards? Injury. Where like my VMO, right, which is the bottom part of like your quad, like above your kneecap, right? I'll put a picture right here or right here or right here, wherever, just to kind of show you that anatomy of that quad muscle. And I would get like, it would be really swollen. I wouldn't be able to squat, like, you know, painful, but like not crazy, right? Like not like a tear, right? You know, just like overuse. And it was always, I think, on the right side. I don't think I ever had this on the left side. Well, anyway, August, it showed up on the left side after that workout. And my right side was pretty sore too, but mostly on the left. And so it just never got better. And then at the end of August, it was August 9th is when that workout was. It was right after the CrossFit Games. And then at the end of August, I was having a pretty good day. I was out walking. I came home. Like I had been, you know, kind of rehabbing and seeing the PT at the gym and just modifying my workouts, you know, just thinking like, okay, it'll just get better, right? It didn't get better. Skip to the end of the story. It didn't get better. So, I had gone out for a walk that day, came home and I was stretching because I was like, you know, I should really stretch. Like I feel really good. Like did a little like hamstring stretch, you know, like hip flexors, whatever, quads. And I stood up from stretching and my knee hurt so bad, I couldn't walk for 3 days. Like nothing happened in that moment. Like there was no like pop. It wasn't like a Baker cyst, which is very like common, I would say, like behind the kneecap. Well, it's really like not really the kneecap, but behind the knee joint, you know, kind of behind the backside of your knee, right? It wasn't like that. I didn't feel anything like tearing, nothing like that. And so I got a referral to an orthopedic surgeon in September, who was also a CrossFitter. And that's why I wanted to see her, because she's kind of like infamous amongst the CrossFitting world, right? You know, because like the ortho that I saw, because I ended up in the emergency room right after the whole painful knee thing, I couldn't walk. And they referred me to like a general orthopedic surgeon. I'm sure he's a very nice guy, but he was definitely not like pro CrossFit, right? You know, and so I was like, I'm sorry, you're nice. It's not you, it's me. I'm never going to be able to see you because you do not support the type of activity that I'm doing. So I went to see, I'll call her Dr. B, went to see Dr. B, and she was like, I am 99% sure you tore your meniscus. And I was like, no. I was like, this can't, I've had torn ligaments. Like I've torn a bicep tendon. I've torn ligaments in my ankles. Like this does not feel that way. I was like, but, you know, if you're right, you know, okay, I'll buy you a case of Fit Aid. And if I'm right, you can buy me a case of Fit Aid, right? You know, and so I had an MRI, no tears. Meniscus is intact. Everything looks really good. Obviously with MRI, sometimes though, you don't really know what you're dealing with until you actually go in with a scope and look. But what they did find is some acute cartilage damage on my left side. I assume I probably also have this on my right side. It's just not bothering me. But I have 2 full thickness tears of my cartilage in my left kneecap and 1 partial thickness tear. So on the 2 full thickness, all that means is a fancy way of saying they can see my femur. Like when you look at that piece of where the cartilage should be, they can see the femur, right? The bone behind it. And so there's 2 of those. They're very small though. They're only about, I would say the size of a dime, maybe slightly larger than the size of a dime. So what is that, like this big? Like meow, meow, meow for all my American friends. And then the other one is even smaller than that. So maybe half like the size of a chocolate chip, I would say. Like, you know, like, I don't even know, like 4 millimeters. It's very small. But there was definitely like some like chunks, let's call it that. They found some, like they couldn't see it on the MRI, so she didn't find it until she got in there. But like there's some just stuff, right? And so on November 23rd, I had knee surgery, which is right before the American Thanksgiving. Went really well, really fast, like less than an hour. They just go in, they scope it. They clean it out, right? They smooth out some of those rough edges, you know, with the cartilage, like just take a look, take a peek, get some pictures. They also took a piece of cartilage from the non-weight bearing side of my femur, right? Which I think is the lateral side. I forget, like there's a part of your femur that doesn't actually weight bear. And so they took a piece of cartilage from there and they sent it to a lab and they cloned it, which is really weird and gross, sort of. But we can talk about that maybe in another video. And so she cleaned everything out for me. She was able to remove some of the like pieces of cartilage that hadn't like completely torn, you know, because I've had a lot of really random pain, like in the back of my knee. And it's sort of like, she's like, I feel like something's like stuck, right? And that's, you know, and it's the cartilage, right? Because there was like a piece that was like torn and it was like getting stuck, right? Like in the knee joint, right? You know, and so I was like, okay, great. Let's just fix this up, whatever. And then we start to talk about like, what does this mean long-term? Right. You know, and so I'm 3 months out now from surgery, about 3 months. I was back in the gym 2 weeks after I had surgery, just modifying whatever, just could not squat below parallel, working through range of motion, did a lot of PT. And then it's about 6 months, they say, before you feel completely normal. So I'm halfway there, and there are days where I feel really good. Today is not one of those days. Just with the open workouts, like I have a lot of swelling right now, so we're trying to deal with that. But anyway, so I had knee surgery. Surprise. Long term though, I was hoping that the answer would be like, oh, we could do a partial like knee replacement when you're 60, right? It'll have to be a full replacement because where my cartilage is gone, is damaged, is actually, there's 3 compartments of the knee joint, and I have a defect, right, in all 3 compartments. And so I did some research on that. And so they typically, in the United States at least, they don't like to start talking about replacing joints until you're in your 60s. But there is some research that indicates that because of revision surgeries, that's why they don't like to do it. They like to do it when you're older, so they don't, because in theory, on an average person, an artificial joint, right, lasts 8 to 10 years. And so if you have it done when you're 60, you probably are going to need 2 revision surgeries in your lifetime. Yet 80 if you figure you live into your 80s, maybe 3 if you live into your 90s. And assuming that it needs it, right? You know, so that's why they don't like to do it on people who are in their 40s, because they're like, you could live another 60 years. That's, you know, 5 or, you know, potentially 5 revision surgeries, right? You know, over the course of your life. So they like to do it when you're older. But there's some research where younger people, right? Because this is the catch, right? They tell you to be active, right? They're like, oh, be active. Don't be fat, be active. Don't do all these things, you know, walk, run, bike, CrossFit, weightlifting, bodybuilding, whatever it is, swimming, you know, they tell you to do all this stuff, right? Because it's good for you. Don't deny that. But this is the trade-off, right, is that your body will break down, right? Because you are pushing it, right? Like beyond like the normal everyday type of thing. So anyway, so like I said, they typically don't do knee replacements until you're in your 60s. However, research, they are finding that doing knee replacements as young as 38, right? For athletes who have acute cartilage damage, who have pain, right? Because some people can have their cartilage worn away and it doesn't bother them. They don't feel pain. It's a weird thing. But then there's some of us, right, who are debilitated by it, right? So it just depends on which group you're in, because some people go their whole lives without that and it doesn't affect them, right? But then there are some people who do have that. That would be me. I have pain when I don't have cartilage. So they'll do it. And here's why. Because they're finding that it's just easier to replace the joint and get the person back to their normal activity level than it is to do all of these little band-aids or temporary fixes, right? Which is arthroscopy, which is what I had done. There is some gel injections now that they're doing that are quite promising, that kind of fill in the holes, right? They kind of give you, a little bit of relief, not so much cortisone, but this gel that they do. And then there's the thing with the cloned cartilage. So what they've learned is they can clone the cartilage, because cartilage doesn't grow back, right? They can clone it and create like little patches or like little bandages, right? And then sew those into your knee. I know that's gross, right? Okay. And they sew them back where they belong. But from that, you maybe get a year or two, right, of relief, maybe that long. And if you're super active like me, probably less, right? So probably more like, why am I sweating? Oh my God, do you see that, guys? I need some foodie beauty filters up in here. But yeah, so they're starting to learn that maybe it's better just to do that than it is to, like I said, put all just a temporary fix, right, in play. So if I get to the point where that is a part of the conversation, I'm trying to get to 50. So I'm 43 right now. I'm trying to get at least into my 50s before I have to have that done. It's a year-long recovery after surgery. It is they've improved the surgery a lot. They've improved the technology with the titanium and all the stuff they do. But I'm trying to get to 50. We're just trying to do it. But there's some things that I want to do now to like minimize the impact on my joints, right? As much as possible. So, starting to rethink maybe some of the big lift goals that I have, right? Not so much CrossFit, like it really hasn't changed my opinion about not going to CrossFit at all. But, like I have some pretty big goals, right? For like my back squat to be north of 300 pounds, like, it should be fine, right? But, it's like, okay, but can all the time, like, do I want to be squatting at that weight all the time? Like, so really just thinking about where my percentages are, thinking about like, in terms of Olympic lifting, like, how much do I want to push, beyond where I'm at right now, like just maybe smaller increments, not these big, like big lofty goals that I have every single year. Running too, is also, you have to kind of think about that, is like, okay, so how much can I actually run? So the most I've run since I've had surgery, I think was like maybe a mile, maybe slightly over a mile and a half. Not consistently though. It was like, 400 meter repeats, right? Or 800 meter repeats, or 200, like yesterday was 200 meter repeats. So thinking about how much running do I want to be doing, right? And just box jumps and just different things, right? And so it's changed a little bit, for me, like what are my goals going to be, right? And right now I'm not 100%. So I don't know what that looks like. Ask me in 3 months, like, do I feel like I don't need to modify as much as I think I'm sitting here like playing with my underwear, guys. What is this? Look at Victoria's Secret. What is this? Anyway, so that's what's been going on. And, yeah, but, part of the reason why I wanted to post this, was that I want to tell you that I started seeing a naturopath, and, a bunch of things has been going on. Like, my thyroid's weird, a little bit weird, like a little Hashimoto's action. So I'm taking a bunch of new supplements. We can talk about it in another video. And I've gone off birth control, which is weird because I haven't been on birth control in over 20 years. I've been on it for 20 years. But my T is low, my testosterone is low, my estrogen is low, like all these things, you know. And so I'm just dealing with some of that right now, like just feeling really bloated and gross because like the birth control that I was on has a diuretic in it, which now my body does not have. And it's like, what the hell, you know? So like my fingers are really swollen and like, you know, like they're already chunky, but they're just like, oh, they feel tight, you know, that feeling, you know, and like whatever. So tomorrow though, I'm starting on new supplements. And I'm hoping that the combination is like the magic bullet for me. And then we have to probably an elimination diet as well, because I got some things going on, you know. So yeah. But anyway, that's it. I just wanted to talk to you, all 7 of you, and let you know what was going on with my life. It's pretty boring, but it's been interesting. And follow along on this next journey, because I think with the new supplements and elimination, I think it's like 12 weeks. Yeah. So I'm going to have like 12 weeks of like weigh-ins and bullshit and all this stuff. So anyway, I hope you're doing well. And you're taking care of yourself. It's almost springtime. Hang in there. And I will talk to you again soon. All right. Bye.